why have you chosen to run for Education and Campaigns Officer?
Well, firstly, I care deeply about the campaign side. One of the main things I've been putting up in my manifestos I've really been fighting for is a tripling of funding for psychological services at UCL. At current, there are about 4 people seeing to the needs of 28,000. About 1/3 of all UCL students try and seek psychological support at some time during their university tenure. So that means that an absolute majority are just turned away. Current waiting times are an average of 8 weeks. Some people have to wait 4 or 5 months just to see someone, which I think is ridiculous for a university that made an 18 million profit. So I really care about the campaign side. I've been working on the fossil-free stuff, linking with Amnesty's procurement campaign. I want to create a forum to bring together all these different campaigns at university. The educational stuff, it's important for me as well, having been at UCL for the past 3 years, never having had lecture cast in any of my lectures. Half of the time, coursework's back late. The bureaucracy is an absolute nightmare in this university, and sometimes you just feel so disenfranchised and it's really hard to get your voice out there. Now I really want to get into a managerial position and be able to make effective change for the students.
Okay, so you've talked about psychological support and fossil fuel campaigns. Why do you think that that's particularly relevant for education and campaigns? Because some people would say that that's more of the job of the ethics and environment officer.
I guess that's fair enough, but really the positions are what you make of them. The titles tend to be more misnomers. Ethics, environment and operations is more of a treasury role. A lot of these criteria could fall under it. Similarly, they could fall under external affairs and campaigns. There's no real demarcation between any of these positions. I think the campaigning role will really allow me to create that forum so I can pool resources between the different campaigns. I think there's a clear mandate under the campaigning side for that. I am interested in educational issues as well, making sure that things run smoothly at UCL, making sure that UCL remains at the top of the rankings. So yeah, I think that the sort of mandate of the Education and Campaigns Officer brings together neatly all the different stuff that I'm really interested and passionate about.
Okay, you talk about fair pay for staff as part of your first point in your manifesto. How would you seek to, I suppose, build on the current campaign and work towards fair pay?
Well, firstly, work closely with the unions here representing staff, not only the union for academics and lecturers, but also the unions for cleaners and support staff. I think it's ridiculous that UCL couldn't commit itself to a living wage, and it took over 2 years to campaign for that, and management has been really slow at that. Secondly, I think it's ridiculous that our academics and our education is suffering because there are constant cutbacks to our education, even when the university is making a constant profit, 18 million last year to be precise. I think that this must necessarily reflect itself in the quality of teaching as well. If our staff aren't happy and they're not paid properly, they're overworked, etc. There's a 13% gender gap in terms of pay. Female lecturers tend to get paid less than their male counterparts, which I think is equally ridiculous as well. In a modern university that claims to be, at the top of the rankings, etc., these things should be absolutely unacceptable. UCL is really about the Benthamite vision of equality and fairness, and I think the university should really commit itself to these values that it likes to advertise, but it's a lot less likely to adhere to.
Okay, and then you also talk about affordable education, which obviously there's education in the role title. How would you seek to campaign for free/affordable education, and what campaigns do you think you would focus on?
Well, firstly, even though I'm a massive believer in free education, unfortunately I don't think that's a practical and political reality at the moment in this country. It seems to be that for the current free education is far into the horizon, but there's definitely no need to start raising degree costs anymore. Master's students and international students have really been turned into the milk cows of this university. I think 9,000 quid for a degree is quite expensive already, and it limits educational opportunities for quite a lot of people. But if we're talking about 20,000 quid, 25,000 quid, that's an enormous sum of money. So, if the university is making an 18 million profit a year, it really doesn't need to start raising more cash from international and master's students, and we could at least put a freeze on all tuition rises and then gradually start cutting back on them as UCL receives more funds. For example, the union made $1 million profit last year. So yeah, just really integrally working on these issues, looking at the financial aspect, closely working with management and the union to make sure that the educational quality at UCL still remains high.
Finally, on the manifesto, you talk about students stay in departments and how you'd like to improve that. A lot of departments do take student feedback, but maybe don't act on it as well as the students would like them to. How would you improve that?
Well, firstly, working with the stars, I've been campaigning for the past week and a half, talking to a lot of people and hearing their stories. For example, the economics department got rejected their request for lecture cast. The historians have been trying to get better subject course options for their courses, which were pretty terrible this year, to be honest. Flat out rejected without even getting a proper hearing or saying from the managerial side of the department. The physics department shares lectures with the natural science department, but only the natural science department has access to the lecture cast feed of those lectures. So even if you're attending the same lecture, only half of those people in that lecture will be able to access the lecture cast, which makes absolutely no sense. Work closely with the stars to firstly outline all the different issues at departments. I realised that they might be very particular and sort of trying to claim something universal for all departments might be fairly misleading. Working closely with the staff, both on a department level and at a higher level, to make sure that student concerns are raised throughout. I have quite a lot of experience in working with different educational issues, working with management, for example, on the Fossil Free campaign. I can be quite a persistent person, as some of you might have noted on the campaign trail, and I can definitely get that persistence across to management as well. And vote me in, and I promise to kick some ass.